Hello, everyone. Today I will be discussing Erikson's 8 stages of moral development versus Lawrence Kohlberg's philosophy of moral development. In order to understand Erikson's stages of development is a principle of epigenesis, which is part of the somatic process. This principle states that as a person develops in intervals, certain significant potentialities come to pass only during later intervals in life. Therefore, although the beginnings of development are important, development that occurs later in life is also important. Erikson's societal process strongly asserts the influence of the community on the development of the individual and the influence that the individual has on the development of the community. This is the reason Erikson's theory is often termed psychosocial. Erikson's belief that a person's encounters with others play a major role in the person's development goes beyond the inherent determinants characteristic of the psychoanalytic school of psychology. So these are the 8 stages of psychosocial development. As you can see, these stages have certain age ranges. We will take a look at them later and discuss a little bit further. So, just for reference, these are the 8 stages of psychosocial development. And here are those stages along with the 8 stages of moral development. So, on the left, we have the age ranges. Then we have what these stages are called in the psychosocial, and then what these are called in the moral development. So, the first one is infancy. And this stage in the psychosocial development is called basic trust versus mistrust. And then there is a resolution or virtue, which is hope. For the second one, it goes from 1 year olds to 3 year olds. And this is the autonomy versus shame stage. And the resolution or virtue is will. The third one is play age, from 3 years old to 6 years old, initiative versus guilt. And the resolution or virtue in this stage is purpose. Then we have school age, which this is typically when children are in elementary school. This is from 6 years old to 12 years old. And this is industry versus inferiority. And the resolution or virtue is competence. Then we go into the adolescent stage from 12 years old to 19 years old. And this is a stage of identity versus confusion. And the resolution or virtue is fidelity. Then we go into early adulthood, which is from 20 years old to 25 years old. And this stage is called intimacy versus isolation, and the resolution or virtue is love. Then we go into adulthood, which is from 26 years old to 64 years old. Now, as you can see, this is the longest stage that we have, and this stage is called generativity versus stagnation, and the resolution or virtue is care. And after that, we go into our last stage, which is old age, which is 65 years old until death. And this stage is called integrity versus despair. And their resolution or virtue is wisdom. Now, understanding a little bit more on Lawrence Kohlberg's philosophy of moral development, he based his these stages, and he was mainly influenced by Jean Piaget, which was a Swiss psychologist. He modified and extended Piaget's approach in setting forth his own theory of ethical development. Kohlberg's approach is commonly referred as structural development approach. And these are the 6 stages that we have for Lawrence Kohlberg. Now, these stages also have 3 different levels. These levels are pre-conventional, conventional, and post-conventional. And then these stages branch out into the different stages, which are obedience and punishment, individualism and exchange, interpersonal relationships, authority and social order, social contract, and universal principles. Now, as you can see, compared to Erikson's, there are no age ranges in Lawrence Kohlberg's philosophy. So that's one difference that we have. Now, looking at other differences, Kohlberg believes that development has no specific age range, when Erikson's development starts at birth and it has set ranges. Erikson viewed the somatic, societal, and ego processes as interrelated and emphasized that all three must be taken into consideration when analyzing a particular human event. Kohlberg believed that once a person had passed through a given stage, he or she will not regress. And Erikson believed that an individual must resolve the crisis during a life period in order to be prepared for the next. Now, Erikson does emphasize that even though the outcome of a certain stage is positive or negative, it would still help on the development on the individual. And he also emphasizes that even though the individual has a positive or negative outcome, if he does not resolve the issue or conflict that he has at that certain stage, he could carry on that conflict or resolution onto the next. When with Kohlberg, you must go through a given stage in order to progress onto the next. Thank you.